Hello everyone, today we are roofing this 8x8 lean-to modern shed. We're going to be installing the underlayment, drip edge, and the shingles. And as we do this, I'm going to show you my top 3 mistakes that I made in the past while installing roof, so you don't make the same mistake when it's your time to build your shed. And we're going to start right off the bat with mistake number 1, which is installing the drip edge and the roof before you completely install your fascia. The fascia is this trim board that goes around the whole roof of the shed, and it must be installed first so the drip edge goes in front of it. Otherwise, it's a nightmare trying to sneak the fascia behind the drip edge afterwards. And the drip edge can be secured to the roof with the same siding nails you'll be using on this project. And when you install the fascia, just make sure that it lines up with the roofing deck. It's very simple, you just need to go around installing the fascia. But here's a money saving tip for you. When you shop for fascia trim boards, you notice that they are half-inch thick, just like trims for doors and windows. My recommendation is that you purchase lap siding instead. Lap siding is only 3/8 of an inch thick and it's perfect for a shed. And this will only cost you half of the price of a regular trim. If you're working by yourself and you want to measure a perfect cut, just take a nail and tack it to the end of the rafter. Use the nail to pivot the lap siding, in our case the fascia, in place, and then clamp it on the other side. If you don't have a ladder tall enough, you can climb onto the roof and then adjust the fascia in place and tack the nail back in place. Now you're ready to mark both sides for a cut. And my goal is to have 2 nails every 16 to 24 inches along the whole fascia board. And now we move on to the roof, and it's time to install the underlayment. Roof underlayment are usually made from recycled paper and asphalt. The reason for the underlayment is to protect the shed roof from wind-driven rain under the shingles. And this is what brings me to my mistake number 2. And personally, I am guilty of this. On some sheds, I have not installed roof underlayment, either because I didn't have it on hand or I thought it was not worth the money. But a high quality shed should always have underlayment installed. This is the differentiator that's going to make your shed last much longer. And the reality is that some shed manufacturers do not even use roof underlayment. But if you're thinking on buying a shed, make sure to ask for this add-on. It's very cheap and well worth the money. And if you need help finding a well-trusted shed manufacturer in your area, check the description below or the QR code right here on the screen. We can definitely connect you with a shed dealer that will provide a high-quality shed at the best price. And whenever installing underlayment, start from the bottom upward and make sure to overlap 4 to 6 inches on every row. Keep the underlayment straight as possible because you're going to use the lines on the underlayment as a guide for when you're installing the shingles. And to secure down the underlayment to the roofing deck, I'm using these plastic caps. They are 1 inch long. Some people will choose to use staples, but I recommend staying away from staples and using these caps, which will hold the paper much better. And just make sure to drive a nail every 12 to 6 inches on top of every rafter. A good guide is that when you look back, each underlayment row should have at least 3 nails plus the one that goes on top of the overlap. And once everything is nailed down, feel free to cut any excess off. And now it's time to install the drip edge. We're going to start off by installing the drip edge right here on the bottom of the shed. Then on the sides. You don't have to worry about installing the drip edge on the top just yet. We're going to install the last piece after the shingles are installed. That's because the drip edge is gonna be there to cover not only the shingles, but also the nails on the last row of the shingles. And I know this can be a little complicated for some of us, but don't worry, we have additional information on our free build plans, and you can find that on the description below. If you're watching this on your TV, I'm gonna leave a QR code for you right here. In addition to the build plans, we also have a complete list of materials of everything used here today. So just make sure you check that out, and that's gonna help you when it's your time to build. Now, drip edges are usually made from aluminum and can be easily cut with thin snips. The drip edge on the lower side of the shed, in our case the back side, needs to be installed underneath the underlayment. That is so the water can run off if you ever get trapped inside the shingles. Just make sure to secure the drip edge with the roofing nail every 16 to 24 inches. And the drip edge that goes on the side of the shed needs to go over the roofing underlayment. And the reason here is that if the water does get caught between the underlayment and the drip edge, it does not make itself towards the roofing deck. Now, as you probably noticed, I got carried away cutting my drip edge too short. So I'm going to pull out the drip edge that's on the bottom and save it for the top. And instead, I'm installing a new drip edge, cutting an angle, and bending the drip edge inward. When doing this, make sure that the drip edge goes underneath so water can run over it. And following the same guide as before, the drip edge needs to go underneath the underlayment. And now it's time to install the shingles. But before we start with the shingles, we need to install a starting strip. Some people will choose to install 2 layers of shingles on the first row, but I find this gaff quick starting strip super easy to work with. This is a good option for homeowners and DIYers. All you gotta do is peel the back stick off and stick it to the roof. You will need a layer of starting strip on the sides and the bottom of the roof. The idea is that the adhesive on the end of the starting strip will help hold down the shingles during storms. And to make sure you have a continuous adhesive strip, you need to cut the ends at an angle. Just make sure to also throw a nail every 16 to 24 inches. And now it's time to install the shingles themselves. But before we get going, I want to share my mistake number 3. And this has to be with tools. Make sure you don't forget to purchase a hook blade for your utility knife. This has to be the cheapest investment for the return. A utility knife will go dull on you every few cuts. And not only that's frustrating, but also could mean that you can hurt yourself with a dull knife. Having the right tools for the job in this application is making sure to at least have a hook blade for your knife. Now, it does help if you have a nail gun, and it will make the installation of the roof much easier. But if you don't, this can be easily done with roofing nails and a hammer. I'm using a 3-tab shingle for this roof, and the installation is pretty straightforward. Each full piece of shingle requires 4 nails each, and as you move upward, you want to stagger them halfway. One thing I like to do is that on the first shingle of each row, I tack 2 nails to start, and then 2 nails on the other end. To shingle this roof, I use a total of 3 bundles. Surprisingly enough, this was the exact amount I needed. In the end, I was only left with 4 shingles. And on the last row, you want to make sure you go as high as you can with the shingles and drive nails as high as you can as well. Once you're done, you take your utility knife and cut the excess shingles off. We'll grab the drip edge and run 2 thick beads of roofing sealant right in the middle. And on the roof, we'll cover up all the nails with the same roofing sealant. We'll place the drip edge over the nails and the shingles, securing it down with nails. And then we'll cover these nails with roofing sealant one more time. And just to let you know, this roofing sealant is pretty sticky stuff. What I like to do is grab a piece of shingle and use that as a spatula so I don't have to mess with it. And now with the roofing complete, we're gonna install the window and the door. If you wanna check that out next, there's a video for you right here. If you wanna check out the whole build from beginning to end, there's a video for you right here. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.